Good evening and welcome to tonight's Undaunted, bringing into the news on church stories. I am Uni Opmala. Let's begin. And so, in the heart of Atlantic Ambazonian zone, a disturbing reality lurks in the shadows behind the bustling markets and the streets of Buea. A polluted stream is being used to wash meat. This is putting the health and health of countless consumers at risk. The dirty water, tainted with potential waterborne pathogens, is a ticking time bomb, threatening to unleash a health crisis that could spread far and wide. The stream, which serves as a vital part of the local meat supply chain, is contaminated with pollutants that could lead to the spread of waterborne diseases like cholera, dysentery, and typhoid fever. The risk is not limited to those consuming the meat. It also poses a threat to the broader community as contaminated food products can spread diseases rapidly. What's even worse alarming is the apparent apathy of local authorities who seem more concerned with collecting taxes from protecting the well-being of their people. Despite the potential health risks, authorities regularly visit the slaughterhouse to collect taxes, but appear to turn a blind eye to the polluted water source. This glaring lack of accountability raises a pressing question. Who will take responsibility for the health and safety of Ambazonians? The situation demands immediate attention and action from local authorities, ensuring access to clean water and maintaining proper sanitation facilities at the slaughterhouse is so essential to mitigating the risks of waterborne diseases and safeguarding public health. The people of Ambazonia deserve better, and it is time for the authorities, the Lao Republic to Cameroon government, to prioritize the health and well-being of Ambazonians. The health and safety of Ambazonians should not be compromised by neglect and apathy. It is crucial for local authorities to take proactive measures to address these issues and prevent a potential health crisis, because for all we know and for all we believe, the future of Ambazonian citizens depends on their health. Well, all these and more we'll discuss on tonight's Undaunted, but first, let's get the prime headlines. The Buea water crisis ordeal has been on the increase, and the southern Cameroonians are obviously affected. That is the first report we'll take tonight. Also, La Republic de Cameroon retrieves bodies of 2 colonial police officers that were neutralized in Undaunted. Ewonda village of Buea, the chief town of the Atlantic zone of Ambazonia, have protested to protect their ancestral land handed to an individual by the colonial administrator. Also, Mile 16 Buea residents unite for healing and hope during what they call Impact Month celebration. On the African scene, Kinshasa residents react to Trump's comment on Congo migrants. On the foreign scene, sadly, Pope Francis passes away. Now let's get to those in full briefings. population of Buea is currently facing a serious humanitarian crisis. The colonial regime has failed to provide potable water for the people of southern Cameroon, who have had to deal with increasing violence and constant mistreatment against those demanding freedom. In southern Cameroon, many residents face a severe lack of access to safe drinking water. This basic necessity is often unavailable, forcing communities to depend on contaminated sources, which poses serious health risks. This is a case of Moya, a village in the Atlantic zone of Fako, where instead of prioritizing essential services like clean water, the colonial regime has focused on suppressing the dissent. Protests calling for autonomy and rights have often been met with militarized responses, leading to violent confrontations with La République du Cameroon security forces. La République du Cameroon is notorious for often diverting attention from the urgent issues affecting daily lives, including access to basic clean water and sanitation. We have gotten a troubling footage of the stream flowing towards the Muya slaughterhouse in Buea. Now, this is the stream where locals depend on water for everyday needs, which includes laundry, taking a bath, and other needs. However, what happens further upstream is concerning. The waste, including dirty diapers, is tossed in, and toilets are connected in a way that it allows sewage to flow directly into the water, as you can see. What's even more shocking is that this same polluted stream is used at the slaughterhouse to wash the meat and proteins that is later on sold at the markets and consumed ignorantly to the population. And of course, this is putting the health of the entire community at risk. After 43 years in power, President Buea has been unable to grant basic necessities to Ambazonia and yet not letting them go. Southern Cameroon is still struggling with drinkable water, roads, electricity, and are even barely surging due to the harsh realities of the failing colonial economy. Yet, La République du Cameroon has deliberately refused to grant Ambazonians freedom. The question rocking the minds of the population is, if La République du Cameroon cannot do as little as provide water, electricity, roads to a small locality as Muya, how then does it intend to rule Ambazonia as a whole? These and more are the reasons why Ambazonians have not relented in demanding for their freedom. These and more is the reason why today we have, of course, our in-house analyst barrister Mbeseha, who, of course, threw his thoughts and joined this conversation. Barrister Mbeseha, that water. Did you see that water? But by the way, welcome. It's a new week. I'm sure your Easter was good, right?
Oh, thank you. I had a good Easter. I saw videos, but to seeing that place personally, I've been through that place times in my life. So to say anything about it, probably based on my personal experiences there. So if that is the story, that is Muya. Muya is one of the largest villages in Buea. That stream, are you still getting me?
Very well, very well. Go
Are you getting
ahead.
me? I was saying that
Yes,
I've seen
please.
their
Go
video,
ahead.
and not just seeing that, I know they're talking about. That place is called Munya. That stream passes through Munya. Most importantly, that source of water comes from the mountain. That's supposed to be the purest source of water around there. It comes from the ground, less than 4 kilometers from it. And going through that community, what costs the so-called council to tap it well? It's an abuse of nature. They're abusing the nature, the natural water, to punish the people. That's one of the best water supplies you could get in the whole world, not just in Amazonia. Really from the mountain, and on the side 6 kilometers, so water bottling company is tapping from that same source and selling it around the world because it's pure. There's nothing there. But the authorities in Munya, that is Buea, cannot even canonize it. You see there, you find bottles and waste dumped all over in the stream. Why? And there's a council. A few weeks ago, I thought we were there with something here. Council. Why, if there's anything the council can do, if you cannot manage that stream, what does it mean by if they cannot call what should be done, then not be done there? Are they worth calling themselves a council? Are they themselves government? Certainly not. It's an abuse of action. You move from that one, you go 2-3 you go less than half a kilometer. You see a heap of right there, which they call a garbage disposal company from Buea, carries the garbage and carries it there at the corner of the road in big piles, just next to that water there. The water flows down the corner and goes on and goes on. And so, what is the worth of the council? You have cows being killed there, butcher. Butchers pay for it. They pay a tax. How can and why can't that council area, the Buea Council, build a modern butchery there? By doing what? By simply directing that waste to a particular place and having disposed of it. What is waste from from butchers? The butcher cows, the butcher goats, all that. What is the waste? It's simple blood. It's simple waste washed out of the intestines. Is that difficult to dispose of? Is that even hard waste? It's not hard. It's not bottles. They are not plastic papers. It's just another thing that you could transform it into manure. It's just simple what things that into things. But then why? Because they don't want to do it. Why? Because it is in Ambazonia. Why? Because where there's no government, absolutely no government. 100% sure. Had they not our institutions, they will not be where they are. Because in the West Cameroon government, for example, we have the Department of Sanitation. That would have dealt with that thing within seconds. In fact, they would have put out rules on how to construct a butcher house. And we can use that waste. The people are used to people simply dispose without harming anyone. But they are not doing it. That is the ordeal we are going through. To do this now. Our fear is simply that by the time we come to the journey, we would have lost it. Many people would have taken it, or it would never. And this is happening in Buea, the capital city of Ambazonia, the city of the West, the capital city. A certain Mr. Pobia church to visit years ago. There were two maps of Southern and British Cameroon and French Cameroon. That is Buea. Normally, that is Buea. Should this ever happen to Buea in the modern world, to our country? No. Just no. For all the what has changed with people killing and people kill cows, butchering is a worldwide trade. We don't find being done that way in Europe or even in other parts of Africa. Why allow this lawless attitude in Ambazonia? Certainly it's not allowed. It should not be allowed. It is either inefficiency or waste. And so the people have to learn to do something. If the government is not helping you, you can help yourself. People in Moya can organize themselves, even the butchers. The people can organize themselves, not to throw waste. I see bottles and
Yeah.
everything lying.
Well, Barrister
They can do
Mbeseha,
that.
when we say, "Oh, if the government cannot help you, you can actually help yourself," we have given several reports here where people come together. There is no road. They come together, put energies together, put resources together, and ensure that there is a motorable road. We've given examples here: the Lashans Bridge and some other roads that were not accessible. People came out in mass to do these things by themselves and for themselves. But there are strategic and important roles that the government must play. But while we're at that, I would want to ask, do you think that the government is not aware of the issue at that slaughterhouse stream? Is it that they are not aware, or you just think it's not so important, especially the fact that elections are around the corner and they would want to focus on some other things? What would be your thought on this? Or you think that, of course, it belongs to Ambazonians, so they can suffer for all they care?
Well, the government is not aware, it's a joke. What is the government? The government is made up of people, individuals. And I can assure you that that thing you call government, are you still getting me?
Just now. Go ahead, please.
Are you getting me? Are you
Yes, I
getting me?
can. Please go ahead. Yes, I can
I
hear
was saying
you.
that.
Can you hear
I
me?
was saying that. I was saying that a government. What is a government? A government is just a word. There are people who work that in. What constitutes a government are people who sit there and do the work. It is 90% sure that there are people who live in Munya. That very Munya, they buy that meat. They work in the governor's office. They work in the prefect's office. So they know, it's not that they are not aware. They are aware of that. If a disease outbreak occurred in Munya, I can guarantee you a good number of government officials will be affected. So it's not that they don't know, they know about that. What is the problem? The problem is that that is not a political priority to them. If we said it now, if we're on CRTV and put out this broadcast, you surprise me if tomorrow you don't find a tractor there protecting all that garbage just because they want to buy people's vote. They know that once the people are enlightened, that they are entitled to that place being clean. Come election time, they will not vote for them. So they are aware of that. But for them, it is not a priority. If it is a priority, they give the money, they don't supervise it. They should take the money, eat the money, and walk away. Because the contract, if any, will be given by the government. Some government agency, call it a council, call it regional, whatever thing they call it in Buea. It will be given by somebody. It will be given to somebody who has links to the CPDM, to the system, to the structures that have no control over it. And so it's not that they are not aware. No, it is just that it is not a priority to them. When we say, for example, garbage disposal, it is thrown, I said they just throw it 500 yards from that place. Mosquitoes come there. Those mosquitoes don't discriminate who to bite. They bite also government officials. And I remember that stream there is not very far away from where, I don't know where they've constructed. They have a place to construct the Nigerian consulate just next to that river there, given to them by the government. If the government does not know, the government knows. But it's not a priority. It's not as simple as that. Priority because, first and foremost, the people there who live there have not made it a priority of their own problem. If they rose up and said, this thing is wrong, the government might not do anything, but they can organize themselves. At the very least, they can stop throwing dirt inside that water. At the very least, they can be able to direct go to the butcher house and show how to blood and the waste that comes out of the intestines of those animals. They can do that by themselves. Try to do it, maybe the government would stop you from doing it. But just try for your own safety. Because the health is yours. Your safety is yours. So if the government is not doing anything, by the government I mean here the council, because I'm sure they have councillors in Moya there who sit in the so-called Boya Council. What are they doing? What are they saying? Are they so blind? No, they're not so blind. They know it. But why are they not acting CPDM? They're just CPDM. They have a hierarchy that will go nowhere until they're authorized to do it from Ewonda. As simple as that. They know. They're supposed to know. If they don't know, they're just, but I guess they know. Nobody, you and me sitting here, we didn't need to go to a health school to know that that thing is a health hazard population. You don't need to be a medical student to do that. You know it, but it's not a priority to them. For example, for me, I think it's not a priority because it's in Ambazonia. I've seen here only in Douala, like people crying next problem. It's no priority to them because for Ambazonians, we wish all of us die. What
All right, thank you so much, Barrister. At this point, let's see what the ESA did over the weekend. Now, this report says a clash between the Amazonian State Army and Colonial Police on Thursday, April 17th, led to the tragic retrieval of the bodies of two Colonial Police officers from Do Village. This followed a series of oppression, of injustice against the same population these foreigners were meant to protect. Having heard enough of the inhumane treatment, the SA retaliated with an attack leading to the loss on the side of the colonizers. In the Savannah zone of Ondo, a community in Donga Mountain remains a hotbed of tension in the Ambazonian war, with recent events intensifying the already difficult situation. What began as peaceful calls for equal treatment has spiraled into a war marked by violence and oppression. Many residents report increasing harassment and brutality from the colonial police, who have constantly terrorized villages and made the area unlivable for them. On the 17th of April, a confrontation erupted between the ASA and colonial police forces, resulting in the neutralization of two colonial police officers. Well, their bodies were found from Ndo village. They were ambushed by the ASA at one of their stations after a series of troubling actions against the community. Extortion, harassment, rape, and brutality are but a summary of monstrous violent activities which these colonial forces have often carried out in Ambazonia at large. Meanwhile, the corpses were discreetly retrieved with the use of a helicopter. Bryce Mbeseha. While all
well,
of the marginalization is going on, while all of the lack is going on, the SA is out there still trying to protect the people from extortion, from other vices of violence that the colonial police force is bringing down to the people. What would be your thoughts or remark on this particular move? Do you think it's a great move at this time, or are you proud of the ASA boys at this point?
I think every meaningful ambassador should be proud of ASAs for whatever thing they do like that. That's a wonderful achievement. The policemen, the gendarmes, and all those people, they are a legitimate target. And so if they successfully brought down two or three or whatever number of them, even if they didn't die, if they were simply wounded, that's enough. That's the victory. But in the larger context, we have to look at it from there and from the narrative of our opponent. Are you getting me?
Right.
Are you getting me?
I can hear you.
I say, well, that is a good job. Every policeman, every soldier, every gendarme is a reasonable target against the occupation. So we have to congratulate our ASAs for whatever they did there. That was trying to say we look at it in the larger context. It is happening in Du, if I'm correct, Du is somewhere in Donga Mountain Division. Donga Mountain Division is one of the areas where the enemy has tried to serve as a return to normalcy. They have their captain there, the general there, called Ngala Gerard, who has been there every time to say a return to normalcy has come. It is in Du. Remember all the time when we saying it. It is in Donga Mountain that we have the Ngarabu. And so if this is happening in Du in 2025, the question is there, can somebody say that there is normalcy, specifically in Du, where the government has tried to sell out as a deal for return to normalcy, as a return to for the end of the war. Before I came on this segment here, I saw something. I saw something on video. They are sure it's being constructed somewhere in Du. Yes, you see some graders and caterpillars there. But that is guarded by military guys by the corner. That is not return to normalcy. It is war. And war is war. bring down those people if you wound them if you can, destroy them if you can. A tooth for a tooth, an eye for an eye. And so it's massive there. And again, as I said, in the larger context, the people who have authority in that area, the northern zone, people who have authority, administrative authority, who have control, who pretend to have control, who have been trying to lie to the public at large, that there is no mercy returning there. The pastors, the bishops, the priests, the mayors, and whoever you can call, they are just lying to you. If there's no mercy returning there, why are they sending military helicopters to evacuate corpses from there? Yes, they are evacuating corpses of theirs. How many of us have died? And nobody has ever mentioned today. That is war. The AS continue to do and do it more and more until these people will be forced to come to the conference table to negotiate an end to that war, to address the root causes of the. That's a simple story. It doesn't take long for that. They can be there all the time. The war fronts change. The stakes change. If somebody told them that they will neutralize two of theirs, where they will not be able to come in a military truck to pick them up, they will bring helicopters. They would not have agreed. But those are clear signs of war. Those are clear signs of futility. Those are clear signs that something is wrong. Something must be done to end it. And so our brothers and sisters who pretend that everything is back to normal. Mr. Ngala Gerard, who has even earned a medal for a return to normalcy in his so-called Donga Bantu, must see it, unless it's things that those people Hindu who are being killed, those people who are living in that village Hindu, unless he claims that they are not part of Donga Bantu division, he just has to revise his strategy and say, look, for 8 years, we lied to ourselves. For 8 years, we lied to the world. For 8 years, we've lied to everybody around. There's no normalcy. Ambazonian problem is real. War is not a thing to be ended in the way he thinks. And so we're waiting for them on the conference table. Go back to that. Will join us in our Ambazonian delegation to fight for what is rightfully ours. Over to you.
Definitely, while the people of Ndu in Dunga Mountain, the SA are taking over in that area and taking control. Let's head over to Ewonda village of Buea. At this point, the villagers are protesting for their ancestral lands. Now, residents of the Ewonda village in Buea, the chief town of the Atlantic Zone in the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, have taken to their sites to protest against the alleged allocation of their communal land to an individual by the colonial administrator. The villagers are determined to safeguard their ancestral land and are calling for the colonial administrator's decision to be reversed. The protesters claim that the land in question is vital to their community's livelihood and cultural heritage. They argue that the allocation was done without their consent or consultation, and they fear that it will lead to displacement and loss of their traditional way of life. This is a total disregard to the people of Ambazonia and the Ewonda villages, that the decision on land is taken without the consent of the owners of the land. The colonial regime and the colonial local authorities must at this point stop these small practice. This incident is not isolated, as cases of land grabbing with the complicity of the colonial administrative authorities have become a recurring issue in Ambazonia. Communities are increasingly expressing frustration and disillusionment with the colonial system's failure to protect their rights and interests. The villagers' protest highlights the need for greater transparency and accountability in land administration, as well as the importance of respecting community rights and interests in decision-making process, an act the colonial regime is guilty of. Well, this particular story is a developing story, and when we get information, full information on the exact person that this land has been handed over to by the colonial government, we'll definitely bring you the news update when we get that complete report. But for now, Barrister Mbeseha, are you excited to see that the men and villagers of the Wonder Village are coming out? Of course, we are seeing videos of the men trying to take possession of what belongs to them. Isn't it how others are supposed to come out to support this particular war? I mean, the people of the Wonder, are you excited or are you proud of this move that they've made?
Well, what we don't know all the facts of the matter, but the fact the people of Ewonda out there protesting that they think something is wrong, something wrong. Again, we don't know all the facts, but I was saying that we don't know all the facts, but the fact that people are protesting would indicate that something is wrong somewhere. Ewonda village is not some type of village in the bushes. Ewonda is right there in Buea, and the people know their rights. And I guess they know that they should get lawyers to fight this thing. Because the issue of land in Buea in particular is so often backdoor deals the administrators that will end up giving land certificates to people who are not entitled to them. And so this is what we have over there. Those things are all administratively orchestrated. The deal, in fact, if the, what we say, administrator has no right to sign out line. No, no right. No legal right to come and sign out land to people. If they want to take that land to build a school, to build a church, to do something in the community, they become involved. You can't use land with them. For wonder, individual villagers have they have plantains, yams, have things growing there. That's their right. They are the custodians of that land. Even if they were to be used by the government for anything's sake, they will be consulted. They should be consulted for whatever thing is going to be done there. Might be that guy, because I see a bulldozer has bulldozed the place there. That guy might brandish out a lid, which is a title. Even yes, that land certificate might very well have been illegal. And so the people are advised to seek the legal counsel. They have sons and daughters in both around the world who can better handle those things. If that guy brandishes a land certificate, it was illegal, it can be challenged, it can be counseled. And so we should not let the colonial armies come right over what it is. There's really in our own days customary land. They are the custodians. The land did not fall from heaven. There, that's what is customary. You cannot just take it away from them. Their consultation. If I had it with them, actually, they will compensation if they are crossed. They will need compensation if they will have to be moved to somewhere else. And so it is not right to do. The worst thing we ever had in Ambazonia was this. And what is bad, they came with something training who claim to be chef de terre, who get the adventure of presidential, who claim to be anything that they can do. They are in fact part of the government. They are part of the presidency. So those individuals train in NM, lots of everything, master of none. They know nothing. They are the key thing is that challenge can be challenged, it should be challenged. Let the people of Ewonda do it the right way, they can get lawyers. Having a protest there for 200 days will not have them. Until you get somebody to go behind the screen and see what actions have been illegal to deprive them of their land. That work can all be done by lawyers. Let the lawyers handle the matter. All what they need is the money. The lawyers will carry their cases to the any way they can. It's not just even in Buea. It's not just even in your own so-called Supreme Court. I've seen the people, the Bakori people in general, carry their land cases across the continent to do where? They say the Buea land claims, if you know this, the Buea land claims they call it, which did not even end up in the military court, Supreme Court in Yaoundé. It ended up somewhere in the African Union. So that I mean, I'm just saying this to show they know what to do. They are capable of doing it. The Bakureko are not the ones that you just take them standing on their backs and cheating them in the way. They have their sons, they have their daughters, they have the intellectuals among them. And now, land is very, very valuable in Buea. A small piece of land in Buea will be worth millions. And who knows how much this guy has spent behind to get that place? We don't know. We don't have the facts. But let the people fight it back with all what they can. If they need advice, maybe they will have people who can advise them. Over to you.
Right, definitely, Barrister Mbeseha. Hopefully, back tomorrow we'll be updated on the latest on that and be able to know who exactly got the land and what the people intend to do or what they are doing. But moving on, still in Buea, well, residents unite for healing and hope during what they call an Impact Month celebration. So this report says that in Mile 16 Buea, community members came together to celebrate the successful conclusion of the Impact Month program. It was organized by a group called Royalty Ward, which is an initiative focused on promoting social cohesion and supporting recovery in the zone that has been deeply affected by the war. Residents of Mile 16, which is a community that has been hard hit by the ongoing war in southern Cameroon, have expressed their heartfelt gratitude for the recent Impact Month program organized by the Royalty Ward. The initiative, themed Empowering Resilience, Building Stronger Communities, wrapped up last Saturday with an energetic community play day that brought together participants of all ages. The event featured a range of fun activities, including football matches, marathons, and food competition, creating a joyful atmosphere and fostering sense of unity. Well, all of these were put together because Ambazonians have had a hard time in the war. And so Fumber Masaline, a dedicated volunteer who helped cook for the event, shared her thoughts. And she said she was doing well before the crisis struck. And so thanks to this Royalty Ward, they are back again, at least saying that there could be hope. And they are always saying that, there can be a brighter future, hoping that the war would definitely come to an end. Vivian Bryan, who took first position in the 100-meter race, highlighted the event's importance for community spirit and says people often say that God has forgotten my 16, but events like this that are coming up is showing that they can be together and they can enjoy one another, rebuild their community, and try to be happy regardless of the senseless war by the La Republic to Cameroon regime. Meanwhile, on her part, Doris Ngam, the CEO of Royalty Ward, explained that the program is aimed to strengthen social bonds and provide trauma healing, very important for all those that are currently affected by the crisis. And she also emphasized that after nearly 9 years of the war, that it is essential that the people come together and see how they can smile and make themselves happy. For all we know, Mile 16 has faced numerous challenges, which includes hosting thousands of internally displaced persons and dealing with frequent clashes between the colonial military and the Ambazonian army. Throughout the impacts, months, various activities were organized, such as mental health workshops, spelling contests, and career orientation sessions. This year, the program expanded to include the neighboring Buanda and Kumbo communities, which also received positive feedbacks from participants. All right, Chief Tazi Song Lovett, a local leader, praised the initiative for offering hope and helping young people steer clear of negative influences. Meanwhile, the organization plans to continue supporting the community with initiatives like a literacy boot camp this summer, which is aimed at helping children improve their reading and writing skills. These and more, this reality group and Ambazonians at that side are really doing for themselves to help them with their mental health, even as the work continues. Barrister Mbeseha, do you think that this initiative is a nice one, knowing that people are coming together. I mean, the army, the colonial army, could take advantage of this situation and want to do something harmful to them at this point, knowing that they always want to, hurt the people of Ambazonia. What would you think about this gathering? We know that it is a positive one. We know that the intention is positive. People are happy. People are coming together to socialize. People are having people to talk to. Mental health is being managed and all of that. But looking at the fact that Ambazonia is at war at this point, would you support such initiatives as regards to the present situation?
Anything done to people out of their tradition is to change. But the way you do it is what is important. Now, if I talk about my 16, I know my 16 very, very well. And then, are you getting me? Are
Yeah,
you
I
getting
can
me?
get you. Though I think we're having a bit of technical issues, but go ahead, please.
I've said I know my 16 very, very well. Anything that would help people can be encouraged. But the way you do it and when you do it is absolutely important. It's organizing football matches, the community, and that have nonsense. Not encouraged. Why? Because this is the wrong time. The government, I'm sure, is behind that thing to show normalcy. Because in Buea, what they call Buea, my 16 has been a hotbed of the revolution. And so they are trying to show, the government would use that to show that there's a total return to normalcy. Or they are trying to encourage people to live together. People have been living there, they were not fighting against each other. And so, what is different between the football match, this impact project, and the mountain race that we have said that it should not be wrong there? Is it that we don't know the value of a mountain race? Somebody runs that thing, it has £1,000,000 or more price. And so, we should be very careful with what we do in the name of trying to save the people. And they sometimes go there and counsel people, give them mental health to be done. But you don't need a football match to accompany that. You need all activities. Go there, set up your clinic. People will come there that they need. A good level, I can guarantee you, it is, there's something behind it. There's something to show that there's a return to normalcy. We should know there's no normalcy. They will do everything, especially in my 16, to show there's a return to my 16. My 16 against who? Voting, Bumaka, those are their neighbors. Or against who? They're united against who? They say as my 16 does not have that problem. Who live in? They're not displaced, they escape from what they're out there. They're not fighting among themselves. So there's nothing like my 16 unite. As if somebody was trying to oppress my as a my 16 is not different from Bumaka. Bumaka is not different from Munya that we just talked about. So I fear that very hidden that thing. Mental issues faced by the internally displaced are not limited to my 16. The people in my 14 they're just the same place. They're the same place, my Bumaka, they're the same place, Munya. But again, my 16 is peculiar in the sense that it has been the hotbed of the revolution. And so they will do everything, the government will encourage nothing to be done to show a return to normalcy on the eve of elections. On the eve of elections coming. And so you can do those things, but the way you do it should be different. You should be very, very careful not to fall into the trap of government. That will say, well, they will take that report out there to the whole world. Peace has returned to see people playing football among themselves, see people doing dancing and doing all that. That is you're selling the wrong narrative. Yeah, as we talked about and do a few minutes ago. Yes. Ngala has also there's a good everything has returned to normal there. They're even having those bulldozers there and filming those things to go and show the world and the international community that normalcy has returned. They will come and show that thing from Do. The road is being bulldozed there. Another one in the BLM, the dancing parade in Munya. that will add to some total of a return to normalcy, which is a false normalcy. Do those people who are entirely displaced in March 16, do they need that to return to their homes, wherever they came from? No, they could go back home. Again, if there was normalcy, they would go back home. These people in Muya and March 16 are not fighting among themselves. So the title Unite, Unite for Healing and Hope during the impact of Mars celebration. Now, the emotion is just too much. It's just to show the world that normalcy has returned. You don't need a whole month celebration to give camp to internal. You don't need one celebration to give pens and pencils to children who need them to go to school. And so the timing, and the way you do it is important. One should be very, very careful to accept those things. Give that assistance if it is possible. But the high profile way of the way you not even do that thing without getting the permission of the deal, without getting those administrations involved. They will not even be doing that thing there. If you wonder, you see Jandan standing by the corner, policemen armed. And so it is a false pretense. They people need those services, that's good. But not in the way they are trying to do them there. That's my take.
Thank you, Barrister Mbeseha. When I saw the report, I realized that the attention of the group that organized it were to create mental, mental space for those who have been traumatized by the war, and so it got me thinking. You're trying to heal and give a mental space and give a mental recognition to those who have been traumatized by the war, but the war is still ongoing. So what then could be the should we say, what then could be the result of this when people are still traumatized, when people are not even home, people are far from home, and people are even still scared for their life. People are still scared of dangers that could emanate. But I love how you threw more light to this. The idea is good, but then the timing is also important at this point. Giving people a mental space for them to ease off could be nice, but what happens after you give them that space? Would you guide them all the time? Would you provide security for them all the time? Of course the answer is no. All right. Thank you so much, Barrister, for being part of tonight's Undaunted. Thank you so much for always coming in whenever we call on you. It's been an amazing evening with you tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Coming up next is news across Africa. Meanwhile, residents of Kinshasa, the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo, are speaking out against Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's President Donald Trump's recent comments on migration. During a meeting, Trump mentioned migrants coming from the Congo, stating that many people come from Congo. He says, I don't know what that is, but they come from the Congo, and all over the world they came in. Jonathan Bawolo, a Kinshasa resident, responded to Trump's comment, highlighting the Congolese values of hospitality and openness. In his words, he says, we are a country that is so rich that we are not selfish, and we don't harass foreigners in the street to ask for their identity papers. Well, Trump's comments reflects his administration's stance on immigration, and that he's been loud about, which has been marked by stringent policies and a focus on the border control. The U.S. has implemented various measures to curb migration, including mass deportation and stricter border controls. The reaction from Kinshasa's residents reflects a growing trend of international scrutiny of Trump's immigration policies, as the world continues to grapple with issues of migration and border control. Well, Trump's comments have sparked a renewed debate on this topic, and we'll keep on talking about it. This is what he wants for the US. Would you deal with it? Would every other African nation continue to complain? Oh well, we'll definitely continue on the African scene, but more reports coming in from the foreign scene right after this short break. Sadly, Pope Francis, the historic first Latin American pontiff, has died on Easter Monday, April 21st, 2025, at the age of 88. The Vatican announced his passing, with Cardinal Calvin Farrell, the Vatican Camerlengo, stating that Francis returned to the home of the Father at about 7:35 a.m. local time. Pope Francis was known for his humble style and concern for the poor, which charmed the world and earned him widespread admiration. However, his critiques of capitalism and climate change also drew criticisms from conservatives. Francis had a history of health issues, including chronic lung disease, which led to the removal of part of one lung as a young man. Before his death, he was hospitalized for 38 days due to a respiratory crisis that developed into double pneumonia. Francis had experienced wishes for a simple funeral, opting for a basic wooden coffin and burial in the Basilica of Saint Mary Major in Rome. A papal conclave is expected to begin soon to elect the next pope. Meanwhile, in a technological breakthrough, Iran has launched a pilot plant for processing rare earth materials designed and built entirely by young Iranian experts. Located in the Abbas-Abad industrial town, the plant marks a major milestone in Iran's scientific advancement. The plant's decision, manufacturing, installation, and commissioning were all carried out by Iranian companies, showcasing the country's growing capabilities in high-tech industries. Notably, some of the equipment used in the plant was manufactured and operated for the first time in Iran. Rare earth minerals require a complex and expensive process before they can be used by manufacturers. The new plant will enable Iran to process these materials domestically, reducing reliance on foreign expertise and accelerating access to high-tech industries. These achievements demonstrate Iran's commitment to scientific process and its potential to become a major player in the global rare earth market. The successful development of the pilot plant is expected to have scientific implication and significant implications as well for Iran's economy and technological development. On the other side, South Korea's custom agency has uncovered a surge in attempt to disguise foreign products, primarily from China, as Korean exports to evade U.S. tariffs. Well, according to Korean Customs Service, the agency found $29.5 billion worth of country of origin violations in the first quarter, with a scientific and significant 97% of these cases involving shipment bonds for the United States. The KCS conducted a special probe in March, which revealed a substantial increase in illicit export practices. The investigation found that companies were importing goods from China, labeling them as Korean products, and then shipping them to the U.S. to avoid tariffs imposed by President Donald Trump. The KCS has established a special task force to prevent such illicit export attempts and plans to implement stricter measures to protect domestic companies. The U.S. tariffs, including a 145% tariffs on Chinese goods, have led to increased attempts by foreign companies to use South Korea as a bypass. So many things happening at the world at large, but it's here we draw the curtain on tonight's Undaunted. But before we go, let's take a look at the stories that made it to the highlights. All right, tonight we told you that Buea water crisis ordeal amid human rights violation in southern Cameroon is on the increase. Also tonight we told you the La Republic of Cameroon has retrieved bodies of two colonial police officers neutralized and Njo. Ewonda villagers of Buea, the chief town of the Atlantic zone of Ambazonia, have protested to protect their ancestral lands handed to an individual by the colonial administrator. Mao 16 Buea residents united for healing and hope during the Impact Month celebration. On the African scene, we told you that Kinshasa residents reacted to Trump's comments on Congo migrants. While on the foreign scene, we told you that the Catholic Church mourns as Pope Francis passes away. That's it for tonight's Undaunted. Bring it into the news on church stories. On behalf of our in-house analyst barrister team based here and a team of technicians behind tonight's production, it's good night and God bless.